I told y'all months ago that this man who was instrumental in creating and spearheading Project 2025 did his PhD dissertation on Black resistance. Y'all ain't want to listen to me, but I'm glad that is going viral right now. Hey y'all, Janice on the mic, back with another quick video. I had two different people send me this TikTok where this Black woman was talking about how the president of the Heritage Foundation, which was the organization that architected Project 2025, studied Black resistance. I told y'all this, and I'm linking my YouTube short where I told y'all, but it didn't go viral. It didn't, you know, I'm not on TikTok, so I guess it didn't make its hits. But I love that this Black woman really broke it down. And I read the dissertation actually when I created that video. I downloaded it and I read through it. And so essentially, Kevin Roberts' dissertation looked at Black resistance through two pivotal events: Nat Turner's rebellion and the Haitian Revolution. And not to shamelessly plug, but this is exactly, y'all, why I wrote my book, Rise and Resist. My book, Rise and Resist, looks at Black resistance. I look at Black resistance globally, and I talked about Toussaint Louverture, who led Haiti to become the first free Black nation. I talk about Kwame Nkrumah, who helped Ghana to become the first free Black nation in Africa. I talked about Ida B. Wells. I talked about Georgia Gilmore. I talked about so many amazing Black people who resisted in different ways. And I actually categorized the types of resistance that 30 plus Black people globally engaged in to give us ideas on how we can resist. So I'm gonna leave all the info above, right? You should be seeing a link to order my book, because we need to be studying Black resistance. These folks are studying Black resistance. And actually, one of my friends who sent me the video on TikTok, she was like, didn't you make a video about this? She actually told me that somebody commented, shout out to my girl, Dr. Sam. She told me somebody commented on her video somebody commented on her page or something and said that the same thing happened in South Africa. So I did my research and I want to share with y'all what I learned. The person's name was Hendrik Verwoerd, who became prime minister in 1958. And he refined, quote unquote, refined apartheid policy further into a system he referred to as separate development. The Promotion of Bantu Self-Government Act of 1959 created 10 Bantu homelands known as Bantustans. Separating Black South Africans from each other enabled the government to claim there was no Black majority and reduced the possibility that Black people would unify into one nationalist organization. And I want to read this part to y'all again, because I think it's so important. Separating Black South Africans from each other enabled the government to claim there was no majority and reduce the possibility that Black people would unify into one nationalist organization. This is actually, I believe I got this from history.com, in case you are wondering. You know, it's important for me to cite my sources, y'all, and as someone who does a lot of opinion writing, citing my sources is paramount. I want to read something else to y'all. Right, so this is from, you see the citation, repository nwu.ac.za. So Hendrik was one of the main architects of Bantu education, the idea of independent Bantu homelands, and is one of the most controversial politicians in South Africa. Hailed and almost venerated by his supporters, he was seen by Albert Luthuli and other African nationalists as the architect of their calamity. In popular journalism, he's been likened, y'all listen to this, he's been likened to Adolf Hitler and Robert Mugabe, yet Verwoerd was no conventional racist. Recent research has shown that as a Stellenbosch lecturer, he rejected the theory that some races were genetically and biologically superior to others. When he went abroad, he was not attracted to Nazi thinking, but by the ideas of American social scientists who advocated social engineering to avoid future conflicts. So what's so interesting is that he studied, he was a psychologist. I believe he had a PhD in psychology or in sociology. So he's somebody who studied psychology, the study of people, the study of groups of people. And he was not somebody who inherently believed that one race was genetically superior to another. But I think what is important about him to emphasize is the fact that he is another person who studied people, who studied Nazi systems. And they actually said he was actually fascinated by the American racial hierarchy system. And so a lot of these folks study Black people, study Black resistance, have studied the US. I'm sure y'all know this already, but Hitler actually studied, and the Nazis studied American racial hierarchies to get ideas, right? And a really great book, I don't have it next to me, but I was reading it. I'm gonna put it across the screen because the name is also Mom Brain. The name is escaping me, but it's a really good and interesting and intriguing book. So these folks learn and study Americans, Black Americans, how Black Americans are treated, how Black people globally have resisted. And it's so imperative for us to know our own history, right? If you are a Black person, wherever you're from, whether you are an indigenous Black person or a Black person who is a descendant of enslaved people, or a Black person from across the diaspora whose parents immigrated to the US decades ago or years ago, it's important for you to understand American history, Black American history, Black history globally, because these folks that are trying and attempting and able to disenfranchise us have studied these things. The people that have been instrumental in stripping away our rights studied us. They studied Black folks. And so I thought that it wasn't a one-to-one comparison with this Hendrik person in apartheid South Africa, but this is somebody who has a vast background, who was a scholar, who studied psychology, sociology, American racial hierarchies. And so it's super duper fascinating that the same is true of Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, literally studied in this TikTok video, which I don't have TikTok, so I don't know if I'll link it, but it's also on Instagram. It was sent to me on Instagram. This Black woman looked at she downloaded his master's thesis and his PhD dissertation. I only focused on his PhD dissertation because his PhD dissertation specifically focused on Black resistance through the lens of Nat Turner's rebellion and the Haitian Revolution. And so I think, again, it's so important for us to be studying our history because we don't even know our own history. And the history of Black resistance is being used to disenfranchise us. These people are studying Black movements, how Black people are able to unite and come together and create monumental changes. And they are infiltrating these movements in order to tear them apart. And so it's of the utmost importance for us to study Black resistance, study Black resistance movements, study Black movements and Black liberation movements so that we can understand where our ancestors drew their strength from, and we can lean on that in our resistance efforts. So I just wanted to make this quick video because I'm kind of salty that when I said it, nobody listened, but when other people said it on TikTok, I'm just glad. Moral of the story, I'm just glad this information is going viral. Folks know it. The dissertation is available to download. I don't trust Wikipedia, but if you go onto his Wikipedia page, you can see more. But if you Google Kevin Roberts and the name of his dissertation, it'll pop up and you can download the full PDF, which is what I did. So I encourage you to read it. It was clear that he has an understanding of systemic racism, anti-Blackness. He understands the power and the strength within the Black community, which was in the Black woman. And it's fascinating that the way that you can dismantle and disrupt the Black community is through the Black family. And that's a whole nother video, right? But I just, again, wanted to make this super quick video to say we need to learn about our history. globally, and we need to learn more about Black resistance. And that's why you should check out my book, shameless plug, Rise and Resist. But thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.